Go ahead, Kamlesh, you can start now.
Namaste, everyone. Very happy to meet you again and spending the 9th session with me. And today is very important. It is 22nd of January, and Gandhi was killed on 30th January. Between this span of 30 days, a lot happened. If he had been killed in the beginning of the year, the map of India would have been different. And nobody knows this, that why this crucial time he did the most damage. And had Godse not killed him at that time, then we would have had not only Hyderabad gone, Bhopal gone, and Junagadh gone. So you can understand what game was he playing and how it was absolutely crucial that he should not have lived beyond 30th of January, because the decision for Hyderabad was going to be made by that weekend. So this is why I'm saying that Gandhi died. The aftermath is equally important, because this aftermath has not just followed India in those 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, 1 year, but it continued following till this day. Brahman did this, Hindus did this, Hindus did this. You see, it's a collective shame that is tagged on the Hindus. You see, it is not a person, but a collective community action that has to be condemned, and it can never be condoned. So it is that kind of thing. So that is why, to me, though that 1 month was very crucial. And that was a month we were in Delhi. We were in a border town where every border was 8 miles or 10 miles away in Taran, and it was safe to get out. So that journey was another horrendous thing, because everybody is going to Delhi and towards UP, and we are also one of them, So I remember at Ambala, we had to change the train going towards Delhi. And my mother handed over my little brother, who was just about 2 years old, and to a lady who said that I'll just hold him till you take the luggage out. And by the time my mother came back to get the baby, the shawl was gone. I mean, at that time, it was made quite an impression on me that people were so desperate that they would remove a shawl from a 2-year-old child. And so I'm bringing this up because the trauma of it. So that is what we are dealing even today, because I remember that, and I'm sure people of my age who moved from there remember that too. So Gandhi made sure that he got every answer wrong to every question. This is the key point of the entire, I think in one sentence, you can sum up the entire book. And so far, in the last 30 years that we studied, from 1915 onwards to 47, I don't think, and probably you all will agree, that he never made a right decision. During the 2 decades from Enne, he lost the theme. He lost what he was fighting for, what he was chosen the leader for. He lost the theme, the plot, the conclusion of the drama. There was no thematic unity, and the party itself lost its moorings, its roots, and direction. So whatever Gandhi is saying now, this wait for that decision. So it was like everybody was in limbo, unable to take any action one way or the other. So Gandhi is running a parallel government. This part, no one, not many people now. If I know, some people else also know that Gandhi was running a parallel government in secret. So Patel did not know he was supposed to be doing merger of the states at that time and negotiating with all 560 kingdoms that we are going to unite, and persuasion and some kind of that you are so limited, so small, landlocked, somehow or other you won't be able to survive. Your resources won't reach you. So what he was doing behind the back of the government, even though it was just temporary for the time being, interim government, he was running his own show. He was meeting this person, he was going to Bhopal, he was going to Gwalior, and if 4 Muslims came, that the king, who was Hindu, is creating problems for celebrations of our this festival or that, and Gandhi would immediately publicly rebuke the king. So this was his attitude. This is how he was became such a nuisance for independent country, and he would not care about anybody else. Muslim people have to stay. They have to be the backbone of Congress. Have to be in India, and this was the continuous theme. Sometimes in public, sometimes in secret, mostly in secret. So his intervention was there. So now there are 5 players there, right? And the power play is between them. So each player had a different goal. The goal for Jinnah was to get Balochistan. He already got northwestern frontier, and and his goal was to get Kashmir, and to get parts of Junagadh, and to get Hyderabad, and to get Sindh, southern part of Sindh, which was outside the boundary line towards India. That was his ambition. And somehow or other, he thought the Muslims will make it a point that they make a Muslim-dominated corridor between Delhi and Bengal, East Bengal. So, and then he was, then the negotiations and backstabbing, this is now Mountbatten doing. Mountbatten was doing his utmost to somehow or other help Pakistan be a viable, strong state. And somehow he wanted that Kashmir, even if a little bit is gone, the rest of it should stay with Pakistan or remain independent. So this is all backstabbing. And Nehru's follies have no beginning and no end. I mean, he was born a fool and ignorant person. So these are the 3 players. And now enters another player. Sheikh Abdullah was released from the king. When the king finally surrendered in the Kashmir invasion and asked for help from India, Nehru waited 2.5 days for the king to concede some of his demands. One of the demands was that Sheikh Abdullah be released from the prison and he become the prime minister of the Kashmir kingdom. And the king, what is he going to do? He should go to Banaras. Why on all places Banaras? Why should he leave his own place? He can be a figurehead like other kings were. But no, that was Nehru's anger. It's a different digression to history between Nehru and the king of Kashmir, Hari Singh. So he was like making that. So Sheikh Abdullah enters. Now, the fifth party is very interesting. Mountbatten was not only the defense minister and the governor general of India, uh, he was also the joint army chief of both Pakistan and India. Now, imagine that. All the officers, British officers, they were under him. They continued because Nehru did not trust the Indians to be in powerful army positions. So he said that you manage defense and you do whatever. Now, all those people, once upon a time, they were on British India's army units, Air Force units, and they are all friends. Some stayed in Pakistan, but they continue to be friends and loyal to the crown of England. You see, this is the main thing. Now, three players are working with the British monarch and consulting Churchill and Attlee and everybody for advice. So, where is the interest of Mountbatten lying? It is lying being loyal to his own country, grab as much as he can, and then we'll see. And the ultimate goal was that somehow or other India will collapse with all those small little kingdoms, each having different interests. And he also knew the vulnerability of Hindus. And he knew the country anyway. So these five players are starting the negotiations. Now, had he lived another 3 days, Gandhi, we would have lost Hyderabad. His secret meetings. This is a well-kept secret that he was meeting the Razakars in his private meetings, and the Razakars were saying that you let Hyderabad continue as an independent state. At the same time, the Nizam was negotiating with the Jinnah that you send us your army and we will join Pakistan. Now, the interesting part is that very few people know what was Hyderabad at that time. Hyderabad was current day Maharashtra, parts of Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and Bombay. So it touched Karnataka also, parts of Karnataka. So such a vast kingdom, and it touched the eastern coast of India. So if Hyderabad joins Pakistan, voila, India lost the only coastal naval area where they could have a strong base. So, and this Gandhi was considering that Hyderabad should remain independent. At the same time, Nizam was, in fact, 3 of the planes which came from Jinnah with the armaments, they were intercepted somewhere and they did not land. So at the same time, the pressure of Razakars and Hyderabad had its own militia. So they started evacuating Hindus through terrorism and their usual scheme. They were following the same pattern, raping women, killing people, destroying their property, and simply making it a Muslim. The terrorism in that state, some people have explained, I did not. It would have taken another 25 pages. It was atrocious time. Even those people who left Hyderabad, they were brought back just for killing. So this was the height of, and did Nehru know about this? And did Gandhi care about it? No. So his secret meeting continued, and the decision of Hyderabad being declared as independent without the permission, knowledge of the Indian Parliament or the Constituent Assembly or even Nehru and Patel, uh, he was going to hand it over on the in the beginning of February. This is few people know that had we crossed the line into February, Hyderabad would have been declared independent. And and then it's open for Pakistan's intervention. It's a huge place. We would have lost at least 1/4 of current India. So this is how dangerous he was. And Godse and his brother and two other people, four of them, they were closely watching what's going on. He was a journalist, Godse was a journalist, and he had a Marathi paper. And he could really understood, he was able to understand what's going on. So his target was that as soon as possible, he should be killed. I mean, he has to be disposed of somehow or other. Now, their plan was to kill him before 1948 January. Now, had he been killed at that time, India would have saved POK. So you see how crucial was that period in which Mountbatten is going in one direction, Patel is trying to do something else, Sheikh is trying to do something else, and of course Jinnah is playing his own games. And everybody except Gandhi and Nehru government, everybody was sincere, patriotic. They were working for their own community, for their own country, except Gandhi and Nehru. So you understand where we are heading. On 13th of January, I mean, in the meantime, in the month of October, the Sanders, Hari Singh handed over the accession paper and agreed to all the terms. And Sheikh himself came with the letter, and the king sent his queen and his child to India, assuring them that of his good intention. So when that was going on, an accession had to be done immediately. So there was a closed door meeting between all the parties, not Jinnah, of course, but Sheikh was there. And this is an interesting conversation. Manik Shah was there. And he said that when the question of accepting the accession, what is there in accepting? Do you want the accession? He is saying that I accede to unconditionally and irrevocably. Then what's the issue? You say yes, and we send the army to rescue, stop the war there. So no, Gandhi, Nehru started giving a long, ideally. The moment he started with this kind of high-winded speech, ideally, Patel said, Johar in his language, Hindi language, so that nobody understands. He said, Johar, you want Kashmir or not? And he said, I want. Then he said, stop it. He gave his own pen and Nehru signed. Now, this is another interesting thing, that this was done in the evening of 26th. And Mountbatten waited for another one day to declare that Kashmir is part of India. And he had to give the signature because he was Governor General of the country. So he signed on 27th. And then he added one more line in that under his signature, subject to the plebiscite. Now you understand how this plebiscite business came in the whole issue. plebiscite. How did it come into the thing? This was deliberate mischief done by Mountbatten. And this was done, and this was released on 27th October. The army went, and the rest of it is India fought. And they repulsed the enemy. They were succeeding. They reached Poonch and beyond and right up to Gilgit. And suddenly, Gandhi says, I cannot stand this violence. India stands for non-violence. What nonsense. They are declaring war and you are supposed to be fighting. But no. So at the same time, Patel suggested that unless they will get the entire area of Kashmir, we will not give them the 70 rest of the money, 55 crores to Pakistan because they invaded India. What was this nonsense of giving to Pakistan? First, they destroyed the property. They did not give compensation to Hindus. Secondly, they did not make any, India did not make any condition for the sharing of the waters. Let them take as much as they want. We have plenty. That kind of attitude. So nothing was written down. So even though it is called Indus Waters Treaty, but nothing was written, or at least the archives don't have that treaty. So sitting in Birla House, Gandhi is comfortably managing interference. And now what happened was that on 28th or somewhere along the line, in the meantime, some refugees, they was spending the winter night in a masjid in Delhi. The Muslims came running to Birla House, said, our masjid has been disrespected, sacrilege, Hindus have done that. And immediately Gandhi ordered, get the masjid vacated. In that part, on that night, when they were kicked out of the masjid, a 3.5-month-old child died of cold. Remember, this is December, January, and this is Punjab and Delhi. This was the last straw on the back of this group who wanted to get rid of him. So you see how it builds up gradually. So you keep putting more and more pressure. Then Mountbatten said, Nehru said, we are not going to give the money to Pakistan unless they vacate POK. And Mountbatten now, he was very upset because that was the game plan, to keep POK with Pakistan or under the British, where they could make a base against Russia. You see, one has to understand the geography of the place where the things were happening. So Mountbatten said that you should do something to Nehru, and Nehru refused. Patel, of course, he was belligerent. Finally, he went to Mahatma Gandhi and he said, if you don't give the money, Pakistan will starve. It will be on your conscience. And don't you care about humanity? As if the onus of caring for humanity and conscience only comes in play when Hindus are concerned. Where the Muslims vacated the property, that was not given to Hindus. No, it went to Muslim property board. This is the kind of, what do you call this? I would say atyachar, tyranny of the Congress government. It starts. So, with this background, Mountbatten went to Gandhi, and this is another very treacherous, cunning kind of blackmail. He said, Gandhi said, Jawahar is not going to listen to me, Patel is not going to listen to me. The only thing is I go on fast and to death. What would you call this strategy? This is called blackmail. This is called blackmail. So he said, this is the only thing. And Mountbatten was so happy, gleeful. Such fools, they are doing this. So he went on unshelled, lying down on the floor, emaciated, because now it is visible to everybody. He cannot have water, of course, orange juice, and do any kind of gluttony in a secret place. Now it is in the open. And on the third day, Nehru and Patel came that we agree, please give up the fast. This was another straw on the back of the groups who wanted to get rid of Gandhi. It is getting too much out of hand. So these players are important to know. Most people know it is between Jinnah and Nehru. It was no, there were so many other forces. So Nehru had all lost his remainder of his mind by this time, and he yielded. Whatever Mountbatten said, he continued doing. Mountbatten said, stop the ceasefire, do the ceasefire. Okay, sir, done. You yield to Gandhi's request. Yes, done. And all this kind of thing was going on till Mountbatten left in 1948 August. He was also in charge of defense forces, and everything was exchanged and planned between the British officers of both countries. Okay. So what was the plan? Plan A for Mountbatten was wresting Kashmir from India. Plan B was that if Kashmir by chance joins India, then there will be invasion of Kashmir. Plan B was to continue pressurizing Hari Singh. So when Hari Singh seemed to be not yielding, then Plan C kicked in, and Plan D was to have, if India is winning, in that case, quickly do the ceasefire so that it remains a divided kingdom. Most part will go to Pakistan, the rest will stay with India. And Nehru did not know the history of the kingdom. He did not know the geography. He voluntarily said that I am willing. I mean, he is talking about the country. On behalf of the country, he is saying, I am willing to give Gilgit and Baltistan if this is what Jinnah wants. Strange, they are getting something by hook or crook, and you are giving them out of your good conscience, and then you are gifting it something. So Nehru wanted Sheikh to be prime minister. He became the prime minister. And Gandhi wanted entire Kashmir to be in Pakistan. That did not happen. An impact of this ignorance, we are seeing that Kashmir issue is still continuing on the playing on the international stage. So I have already explained treatment of refugees, famished, no immunity, falling sick. Numerous migrants suffer from flu. Property of Muslims who migrated went to Muslim board. Compensation for the refugees did not come up. There was no plan. Where are they going to stay? Where are the temporary shelters? Where are the winter beds? And it was total chaos, and it was impossible. Now, monetary help, food, nothing was coming. Some people came to philanthropists and big businessmen. I know about Amritsar. They came together and they opened, started tents. And of course, they were given the sheets, but there were no beds. And one of my cousin, he recalled that they stayed in what was called, known as Pyarelal camp. And as far as possible, people were given food and some kind of, beds, the sheets. But then it was winter. And these people are coming from very rich families, property holders, and this is what is happening to them in the country which is supposed to accommodate them. Anyway, they didn't. So children die of hunger and cold, and bloodbath continues. This bloodbath continued. Gandhi never came out to listen to the views of the Hindus. The protests were, the Hindus were protesting outside Birla House, and that was televised. And except for the philanthropists, the government didn't come. It was the responsibility of the Governor General to come to the aid or send some aid. Turmoil around the Red Cliff Line, southern Sindh, somehow or other there was heavy warfare going on. Junagadh, near that, violence was everywhere. And we moved to Delhi to escape some of the violence. Now, if you have never read any book on the subject, please read these. I think it's a very short book. May it please your honor. When Godse killed, it was in closed door, no jury except the judge and the government's DA, whatever his rank was at that time. And Gopal Godse was one of the accused. And then two others were there who were also. So they said, excuse me, I should have some water. So the justice, judge presiding over it, he asked Godse that, would you like to have a government defense counsel? And he said, no, but I may be allowed to read the reasons why I killed. So he gave about 140 reasons, and may it please your honor is now available on PDF. So please go through it. That what Godse did was a huge favor to the country. In fact, he should be given Bharat Ratna for getting rid of the nuisance and the curse that India was bearing. So in the closed door, the Sarkari Vakil was not there because he refused. And he said, I may be allowed to read my own statement, defense. And then the defense attorney, the government attorney said that we are not going to allow. Why not allow him the last wish? If you are going to punish him, at least let him say something in his defense. So Gopal Godse, his brother, noted down everything, and there was no press inside. Nobody was allowed inside. It was absolutely secret. The day he was killed, and Godse said that I did not want to have any personal vendetta. I was against his policies that he was finishing India after independence, so-called independence. And he said, when I went there 2-3 times, there were other people surrounding him, and I did not want to kill them. And the last, when he succeeded, he said, first I bowed down and gave my respect. And then he shot him point blank, 2 shots. And he immediately collapsed. Now, please, after this session, think of Gandhi movie, where they said that the last words of Gandhi were, hey Ram. Absolutely not. He collapsed. You see, when you are hit in the chest and the stomach, and you simply collapse, die. Where is the question of hey Ram or hey Sham? you were killed. So he gave 145 or 140 reasons, and please do read it. It is an eye opener. There are a lot of spelling mistakes, but then, the guy is emotional, and he's speaking out of his heart. And that book it came out as a booklet. Gopal got say noted down, but then he was also imprisoned, and the book was banned. So January 36, 1948, Washington, D.C. newspaper, half a page of this side, right side, this news came. Washington, D.C. newspaper, Gandhi assassinated. 15 die in Bombay riots. New wave of looting, arson, curfew is imposed. Now, this was the early morning edition after 30th, on 31st. 1948 Port Angeles newspaper headline was Gandhi assassinated, walking to prayer grounds. Then Gandhi slain by assassins, riots begin, and this is the newspaper. But Indian newspaper did not have anything except the whole page, Gandhi assassinated. So, and whatever was said on the radio that people heard. Not everybody was reading newspapers in those days. So, how do we know about the Bombay riots? I only came to know when I was researching the world press, reaction in the world press. I would not have known either. That day, in 2.5 days, Congress killed about 8,000 people, Brahmins. Now, this is 8,000 Brahmins were massacred, more than the casualties that occurred in 1984 riots. The news was published in local and international papers, but stopped. V. Savarkar, who had already done 21 years of imprisonment, 11 years in Andaman Nicobar, and he was released. He is again arrested. What has he to do with the Godse? His brother, Savarkar's elder brother, was stoned to death, and their property was vandalized. All under the Congress watch, done by the Congress, ordered these riots. Just exactly like Indira Gandhi died and the Sikh became the victims, it was the Congress. So, who did that? He who, and this is the words that Savarkar wrote before being arrested, and you can read it, who relentlessly served the nation, worked for the people, stood firm against the Brits, who fought for liberating Ma Bharati, today was stoned to death by his own brothers for whom he fought. And this I'm quoting from this book. So, under Article 342 of the Criminal Procedure Code, no jury system, secret trial, press and family denied. He made his own defense, and I have explained. And this is another interesting point. This is the last slide, I think, I hope. Nehru, why he didn't call for a medical assistant or an ambulance? The first thing is not to go and make a speech on the radio, Bapu is dead, Bapu is killed. No, you call the ambulance, take him to the hospital, even if he died. Okay, a final examination and death certificate has to be given. The onlookers cannot do that. Nehru was happy, good riddance. He was a nuisance for the government, and it gave him an excuse to make an amendment to the freedom of speech. He said it will be restricted freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is freedom. If it is restricted, it is not freedom. So this became his lifelong mission, banned the organization, Hindu publications, and Godse's book only came 20 years after, somewhere in the last decade of the last century. So what I'm trying to say, that Nehru's death came as a blessing for the Congress and Nehru's dynasty. because he got a riddance of the interference, his cottage industry business, and everything. At the same time, it gave him the opportunity to castigate Hindus forever and ever. To this day, Hindus are wearing the badge that they killed Gandhi, who was apostle of non-violence. Having said that, if you have any questions, and I was, by the way, on the day in Delhi when somebody came at 5 o'clock, that at 5:10, Bapu is dead. So then we knew India's Bapu died. Okay, so now the floor is yours and escape.
I would like to comment,
If
Kamlesh
in the
ji.
audience, if anybody, yeah.
I would like to comment Kamlesh Kapur ji's very good sense of humor and the way she has explained to us all this narration, how she has narrated everything, what exactly took place at the time of partition and how Gandhi was killed and a Congress used this opportunity to blame everything on Hindus as it was done in 1984 when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was assassinated. I think the Congress has that history of taking advantage of the Indians and killing Hindus without any fear or favor. They just do it. Massacre. The word is massacre. Very sadly, it is very sad that this thing had happened in 1947. My father is with me here, and he was mentioning me that how that time the trains were coming and going, and he has seen the partition himself and how they came out of Pakistan to India and how they were, as she has mentioned, the food and all those shelters were given. Some was not given. Some was all sort of things. And I think the appeasement policy started beginning 1947 itself, as people were taken for a ride. So very grateful. Thank you, Kamlesh ji.
I may make a correction here that appeasement policy started in 1919 itself, when the Mokla rebellion came. So it is not that the appeasement started at that time. Appeasement continued in the 30s, in the 40s. And everything that Jinnah said, Nehru agreed. Everything Mountbatten said, Nehru agreed. They had lost the deck. So how they are going to impose any kind of counter offer? You see, when you are on a negotiating table, the other person demands this, you demand this. This is simple first lesson 101 for administration. And we are losing ground, gifting things, agreeing to nonsensical proposals. Anyway. Okay, next question. Yeah. Somebody raised hand. Pradeep. Who?
Yeah. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, Pradeep ji.
Oh, hi. Yeah. I'm Pradeep Misra here. And I was going through your presentation. That was a great presentation. And at the same time, as you mentioned, that Gandhi started Muslim appeasing since 1980. And that bothers my mind that if so many things happened in Mokla, in Chori Chora, and then Noakhali, and finally in 47, then at least educated Hindus should have gotten an idea that this guy is a crooked one. And he was doing so many things to appease Muslims. And for everything Hindus were doing in reaction to that, he was trying to, impose non-violence on them. So what exactly other Hindu leaders were doing who really cared about Hinduism and Hindus to at least educate Hindus that this guy is crooked, he is not doing anything for you. In fact, he is working for British and Muslims, and ultimately he'll get you killed, raped, and country divided. So was there any movement that time among Hindus which was trying to educate Hindus or trying to save their country, their religion like that? Thank you.
The answer is, in fact, I can ask you the question, how many Hindus know what is happening in the country now? There are only 5% of the Brahmins left in the country, and their average monthly salary is $100. And this is the condition of the Brahmins. And do you think anybody cares today? There are newspapers, there are local vernacular newspapers, the chit-chat business is going on, there's social media, some awakening is coming. But these little details, how gradually in 75 years, the Brahmins were decimated. That do Hindus know? What do they do when the newspaper come? Bulky newspapers come when I go to India, Hindustan Times, Times of India, what. And people look at the headlines and there it goes. Now let's have breakfast and go to work. So this is the kind of Hindus who are there and the curriculum that they are taught. And as you have pointed out, there was a militant group. Savarkar was part of the militant group. Lajpat Rai was part of that. Gradually, he got rid of them. And the rest of the Congress party just looked at today what Gandhi is going to tell us to do. You see, such object bankruptcy of mind. Mind has become bankrupt. And that continues. Hindus is afraid to say, I'm Hindu. How many people say that, I'm a proud Hindu? Only in Modi regime, people are coming out, hey, we are Hindus, and these are our temples. And this is our heritage. Otherwise, we were intelligent students. Why we were not taught about Kalidas? Why Sanskrit was not being taught to us? That would have connected us to our past literature. We are taught about George Eliot and Kant and Green. Why not the Arthashastra? Arthashastra was discovered in 1910. It's in the open. So it is, you see, people deserve what they wish for. If you don't care for the country and it is immaterial, and yes, the very intellectual and well-placed people never wanted to leave the British war. They never wanted to leave Pakistan. They never wanted British to go because they were comfortable in good positions. And later on, whatever was going on, probably the British were better rulers. If we are to be oppressed, it is better to be oppressed by a foreigner. And yes, all those atrocities when they were going on riots, the newspapers were not enough. Muslims made sure that in 20 years prior to 1947, they had their private militia. Each state had militia. They had weaponized every Muslim into warfare, prepared for that, weaponized them. And they secured property and positions. And they controlled when they were creating riots, they made sure that newspapers are closed. Even Indira Gandhi's death, when this tragedy was going on, they declared, no, when emergency was started, one day there was a blackout in Delhi. Electricity was stopped so that no newspaper brings out the emergency ramification, except for a short statement on the radio. So So you understand there are a lot of factors which contributed, but they only contributed. The ringleaders, the key crooks who played the games with the rest of the population, they were the Hindus and the Congress party, which eliminated all other parties and opponents. And I think you read the book, my book, and when you read the 20s and the 30s, you will see how much resistance some of the intelligent people brought. And why not? So they did resist. And Gandhi said they are terrorists. Gandhi labeled Guru Gobind Singh terrorist, Gandhi labeled Bhagat Singh, Savarkar, anybody. Even Shri Krishna and Shri Ram, I would not pray to them because they resorted to what? You see, nonsense cannot become more nonsense. By overstating 10 times, it still remains nonsense. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Kamlesh ji, for your very good comments. I really agree with you. What you have really put it that now, if you remember, there was a Naram Dal and Garam Dal. Naram Dal means the soft people, and the Garam Dal, as you mentioned just now, Lala Lajpat Rai, Savarkar ji, another Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, those really fighting for the freedom of India that time.
Yeah, there was a euphoria. In fact, people observed fast. In 1948, the day Gandhi died, we were there. And for one day, next day, when his cremation was to take place, people observed fast. And I remember we cried. I cried. When Nehru died, I cried horrendously, as if it is end of the world. And I was not a child at that time. It is how much you are influenced that this guy or India will fall apart. So,
Yeah.
I think
you're.
right.
I have one more question. So I think first of all, you're absolutely right. Growing up in India in 70s, right? Chacha Nehru and Bal Devas, and there was this whole racket going on as if he was the only leader in the country. Of course, his daughter was ruling the nation at that point. But I'm wondering how the other, 1/3 of Indians, or previously Indians who are in Pakistan, how they see Gandhi. Do they recognize, the great role Gandhi played in creating their country? Maybe they call him a father of their nation, or do you know how they react to Gandhi's legacy?
Now people are questioning this. Now people are not accepting it. You see, it's only because now they have a platform to say this. Up to 2014, Hindus did not have a platform. The media narrative was not under their control. So you see, who creates a narrative is the person who controls the public opinion.
Yeah.
So what is not before you, you are not going to see. A person, I was a reader and writer from a very young age, and yet I did not know this was going on. I was in administration. I did not know these atrocities. Sometimes it is you have to be away from the scene of turmoil in order to realize what a terminal cancer they created. And it's not going away yet. There's a recent book come out, Snakes in the Ganga, and that further exposes the entire book, long book. I breached it in 3 chapters: separatism, terrorism, and ghotalas. So this is exactly what Rajiv Malhotra has done in that book. But how many people read books? That's another point. We Hindus are not readers. Christians are. Malayalis are. We don't read. You see, as if we have some kind of mental inertia or allergy to the written word, or simply, we don't care. We don't care. We don't value. We don't value each other as community members. Something great is happening. So either we make stupid remark in public, or we are just hang down there.
So there was a community like this, right? So Jews were spread throughout Europe, but I think the Holocaust united them in Israel now, and it has become a very strong nation.
Yeah,
I think sometime a community has to go through such an unfortunate experience.
Jews are a very small population, and it is easy to weld them. India, with all its regional diversity and the languages differences, it is hard to unite, especially after about 1,000 years of uh, terrorism against them and atrocities. You see, we are hiding. And many people say that, caste Hindus did this. Where were the caste Hindus? The Kshatriyas died in war with the Mughals and then with the British. And Brahmins are killed just mercilessly by both rulers. So who were left? The traders, the merchants, farmers, and dukandar, shopkeepers. Because without them, the ruler cannot survive. So you see, where were the upper caste oppressing? And why Guru Gobind Singh started the militia, calling them Sikh and warriors? Because there were no Kshatriyas left. So it is not that his idea was to suddenly make a Sikh race out of the blue. No, he asked Hindu women to give up one son for the cause of freedom, liberation, safety, and a great idea. But then how it backfired. So,
Yeah.
Namaste,
certainly,
Didi.
yeah.
Namaste, Didi. I have a question. This is regarding the role of the second line Congress leaders. Apart from Nehru, there were others prominent leaders at that point of time, like Patel and others, Jayaprakash Narayan, Kriplani, and so many Congress leaders. So, did all of them maintain a silence, or you find any of them made any effort to counter the machinations or cunning policies of Gandhi and Nehru at that point of time, during partition, after partition? Do you find any of them made any major attempt which you find worth mentioning?
there is a very interesting incident connected to that. Patel died very soon, and he died because of the pressure and the conflict between Nehru and Nehru did exactly the opposite of what Patel said. So Patel was out very quickly, but whatever he did in 2 years, he should be put on the pedestal as he is being done now. Okay, so the other people, I have written a line in the book. Majlise nama kulani. This is a Punjabi phrase. Majlise means the conference, gathering. Namakul. Namakul are incapable, uneducated, uneducable also. You cannot educate them. So I wrote down that all were pygmies, and it was Majlise Namakula. And I gave the English translation. You see, it's not just a series of disturbing events. I did put some of the humor, inject some humor in it, even though tragedy has no humor. But they were not qualified. They were not qualified even to be the mayor of a small city. And one of them was Jagjeevan Ram. Another one was Rafi Ahmad Kadwai. And they did not know a word of English. So there is a story going on in my department in Postal Service that the head clerk asked for clarification and the superintendent sent it to the next boss. Finally, and it went to the whole draft went to the minister. And the minister wrote in Urdu a curse word, what is this going on in Urdu? And he signed in Urdu. It came all the way back to the head clerk. Everybody detoured that the minister has signed, he has approved the draft. Whereas he wrote down, what is all this nonsense? So it came all the way down. And everybody not knowing Urdu was happy to let it trickle down. When it finally came to the head clerk, and he said that minister has not agreed. He has questioned us, what is this business? So, this is just to tell you the competence or capability or education. And that continues even today. Many of them are not even 10th grade pass. In fact, there is a saying that a person who fails 4 times in the primary school, he is fit to be the monitor for the next classes, and then he becomes a neta. Then he becomes politician. So this is the caliber. Again, we are responsible for it because we don't take interest.
So, madam, was Rajendra Prasad made president just to silence him? I think he was a class apart. In the knowledge was second to none at that point of time also. How do you see the role of Rajendra Prasad there?
Rajendra Prasad, the hands were bound. As long as he remained there, he tried to do his own thing and the right thing. But then Radhakrishnan did not have the guts. He toadied the line. And Zakir Hussain and everybody else. You see, Nehru created an atmosphere where you distrust anybody's intelligence. He would insult Thimaiya, Kriapa, military generals, and it is in the annals of those people. They did. You don't value your own people. So it was all, sad thing. My idea is to demystify Gandhi himself. And the person who is role model, he was the worst curse on the country. So,
any more questions? Yeah, Rahul.
Yes. Namaskar. Thank you for that very, very enlightening talk. And I'm really impressed. I'm actually based in New York, and I was, previously in the Indian Police Service and in the UN. I would, really like to, connect with you after this to see how we can take your thoughts forward. I have some initiatives, so I would be very grateful. My question is that my feeling is that Hindus are the biggest enemies of Hindus, and what do we do to save Hinduism from Hindus?
I don't know. We can talk about it endlessly, but we are not readers. We are not inquisitive. We are not curious to know. Most people say history is a boring subject. Yes, but it's a journey you have to go through in order to understand your roots. So if you don't have the roots, you don't have it's like cut flower. So the way our girls are going in America, in foreign countries, they don't trust Hindu spouses. And Hindu spouses have different expectations. It's a multi-layered disease, malaria. Multi-layered. Social layer is there, ego is there. Everything that Sri Krishna said that you should avoid, the 5 vikaras, all of them we are nourishing, even till the death. So the ego. Yesterday I was at a party. Nobody cared about each other. All they cared was what impression I am making or what kind of fashion statement I am making. And these were all doctors and engineers and very like professional people. But professional does not mean that you have enough humility to acknowledge each other. So we are our own enemies. And how to get rid of that mindset?
But Gandhi is still, they recently installed a statue of his in the United Nations. And this cult of nonviolence, which he left for Hindus, is, diametrically opposite to what, the most basic observation of human nature tells us, that there is an aggressive instinct in other people which will never be controlled. And if you disregard that, then the only word for you is foolishness, And this instinct of absolute lack of feeling in Hindus that they have got a right responsibility to self-defense is the most amazing psychological phenomenon I have ever seen. That you have to tell Hindus that you have a right to self-defense. And they still don't believe it. Yesterday, somebody was telling me a story that in a meeting of Kashmiri Pandits out here in New York, this person asked the prominent Kashmiri person, he said, well, so many of you were being killed. Why didn't you also kill, some in return? And the whole congregation got angry at this very obvious and logical question. Very basic question. So the thing is, this complete lack of awareness that there is something called self-defense in Hindus is just a remarkable phenomenon.
Self-defense is there. When it comes to my skin, I will save myself. I have connections with others.
Yeah.
But when it comes to community's defense or 5 friends, not many people can count on their fingers that there are 5 friends that they can count.
Yeah.
I lived in New York for 28 years. When I left, many people said, you have all the friends here and you're leaving. I couldn't fill 5 fingers. Stopped at 4.
Yeah.
So this is the condition of community. And if you are thinking that just by talking in the meeting, we can solve anything, we cannot.
Yeah.
You have to involve so many organizations who are absolutely rotten to the core. I have dealt with all the Hindu organizations. Not a sincere bone in their body. Each one is looking to find a ladder for their next generation. They become politician or this or that. So we don't have that kind of sincerity for the community.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like to stay in touch with you. I have some projects which I'd like to take forward, for the Hindu community, and I'd like to stay in touch.
Whatever I could do, I did.
Yes.
And somehow.
Okay. Any more questions? You're already over the hour.
Thank you for your bravery to speak out and document and provide the book and make this talk very interactive. So thank you, Jai Shri Ram.
Please do.
Please do buy
unless
the book.
you read the book, and these talks are just a little bit here and there, even though I'm weaving the whole thread. So everybody should get the book and read the details.
We will 100% do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Kamlesh, for today's session. Next time.
Okay. Thank you very much.